So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, which is us completely finishing the turbo kit, which is really exciting, I just wanted to go over what I did with the front subframe on the car, because there was a commenter that specifically asked about it. And I do really appreciate you guys commenting. I think that's really cool. Hopefully these videos will help you out if you're thinking of doing something like this, or at least it's just entertaining. But anyway, here's some video clips of me kind of explaining and showing as best I can about what I did to the front subframe of the car. And then we'll get into the rest of the video.
Alright, so I'm going to try to show you on video kind of what I did, but honestly, I'm probably going to insert some pictures here, which will probably be better than trying to show you this on video because everything's so jam-packed in here. But as you can see, these are the motor mounts, the motor mount kit I used. They are, they're Dirty Dingo motor mounts. Let me see if we can get the light a little bit better. It's just like a Dirty Dingo hot rod motor mount kit. It comes with the plate for the motor, and then it comes with these as well, these uprights. So as you can see, they are welded directly. Well, maybe you can't see, but they're welded to the subframe, the Subaru subframe. And then what I did was, I don't think there's going to be a way I can really show you guys on camera. No, there's not. But the subframe, and I'll probably insert, this is probably where I'm going to insert the picture. The subframe I cut down as low as I could to the right up to the steering rack. So the bottom of this pump, or not the pump, the bottom of this oil pan, where it gets real slim in the back. You can see it kind of ends here and then gets really close to the motor in the back. That back of that pan is sitting like very, very close to the steering rack. So that's what I did to get the motor where it is. It is literally as low down as I could possibly get the motor and not have to move the steering rack, which was kind of my goal. I wish I could have gotten it a little bit lower in the engine bay, but with a lower profile intake manifold, the hood will close. So I guess I got it as low down as I need to get it. But anyway, I just wanted to address that's what I did with the subframe on this car to get the motor to go in and to get everything to work. The way I assembled this and test fit this and everything was I actually, you can see here, I cut the whole radiator support out, and I took the engine and the transmission out and in as I needed to in one piece. So I believe that's, if I need to like just pull the motor in the future, I think I have to pull the motor and trans in one piece. I don't know, I haven't needed to pull one or the other by themselves, but that's just my assumption of what I would have to do. So just as a quick heads up, this video might be a little bit scattered with what you see, because there's a bunch of stuff that I did off camera. So just keep that in mind when you're watching this video. But I did my best with trying to film, just with not having a lot of time, and then also, especially with the welding, I don't have a great welding setup over here. So it's very hard to even use, let alone try and film. So I did a couple of not very interesting things off camera, but I just want to show you. I mounted up the oil scavenge pump, this big girl. Wasn't really a spot for it underneath the car, so this is where it's going to live. And then I also got the turbo. I got the intercooler supported from the bottom, so now it's nice and sturdy and it's sitting where I want it to. And then I also mounted the turbo scavenge tank. All right, so let's get to work on our turbo drain system. So I'm using a PTFE hose. This is -10. I'm sure PTFE for turbo drain is probably overkill. There's probably a cheaper option that will do just the same job, but I don't know. I like the PTFE stuff, even though it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. If you've never worked with it before, it can be a pain. Let's get that set like that. Make sure this one is in the push down all the way, and let's test the fit this real quick before we actually crimp this and make the line. All right, we've got it on the turbo side. Let's see, we've still got the turbo kind of flexible at the moment because it's not hard mounted where it is right this second. This is kind of a pain in the butt to get on, I'm not gonna lie here. Let's back this off a little bit. And it looks like it's going to be the right length. It's just kind of the angle that's fighting me here. Stand by. All right, we're tight on both sides. We're still fully where we need to be there. And pardon my head if it's in the way, and we're still where we need to be there. Okay, so that's a good length, I think. All right, got our line. Never a bad idea to lube up these threads a little bit. Just makes everything a little bit smoother. There we go. All right, make sure we're straight here. And then they do sell like little aluminum vice jaws for these things, so you don't mar these fittings up, but I don't really care all that much about marring these things up, so we're gonna do this method. All right, we got our second line cut. This is the one that's going from the sump to the scavenge pump. All right, I've got her in the scavenge pump. Let's see if we can get this on. This is gonna be a little finagly, like the turbo was. I don't know about you guys, but I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with AN lines. All right, and there's the other end of that line. Now all we need to do is actually make our last line that's gonna go from the pump down to the oil pan, and the oil, you can't see it, but the oil pan has a -10 bung in it already that I put in when I installed the oil pan. All right, this might be a little goofy of an angle, but there's the drain coming off the turbo into the little scavenge tank, and then it's going into the little drain of the scavenge tank, and then it is going up through this hole, and then it's going to go up and around the turbo housing and downpipe. There is like a hand of gap in here, and I'm going to have heat shielding on this and heat shielding on the turbo and downpipe or dump pipe, so don't worry about that. But then we go up, and that right there is connected to the scavenge pump. So this is the finished manifold, the turbo manifold before I heat wrap it here. I kind of just wanted to show you guys. So the welds are not stellar. My welds have never been like perfect, but they are definitely gonna hold and they're not gonna leak. And this is what she looks like. Fitment when you're welding is everything, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know if you do fabrication. Like this weld here, I had really good fitment. This weld here, I did not. I had a fairly large gap I had to fill, so it's really gonna, your weld quality is really gonna be very dependent on your preparation and your fitment. So some people that know me well may say that I'm cheap, but one thing that I would recommend is just get yourself one of these intercooler pipe bend roller dealios. I mean, this thing was dirt cheap from Amazon, and it just works really well, and it's not that expensive, and it works much better than just doing it the cheap way, which is what I've done in the past, which is you take those crimp pliers, cut the ends off of them, and then you just crimp around the pipe. It takes forever, and it ends up not looking very good, and it's well worth just getting one of these things. It does help if your vise doesn't suck ass like mine does, but it's still gonna get the job done. This one actually looks like I'm rolling right on the edge right now, but hopefully we're good. But yeah, let's see. Okay, I think I got it. This is still significantly easier than trying to use the plier method. There we go, we're all the way around.
And as you can see, it just looks a lot more professional and more consistent. So do yourself a favor, if you're doing intercooler piping, don't be like old me, just get one of these cheapos, save yourself some headache. So for now, since I'm completely out of welding gas and I really want to get this car driving and running, because next weekend I would really like to take this to the track and actually test it, because September's coming quick. Might not feel like it right now, but it's going to be here before we know it. So I want to get a good amount of testing on this thing before we take it on the drag week. So anyway, since I'm completely out of gas, this side I was going to weld to this joint here. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. Yeah, you probably can. I was going to weld it here to this joint to reduce the amount of couplers that I was going to use. Since I'm out of gas, I'm not going to do that for now. I'm just going to use another silicone coupler right there, but I'm not going to roll the edge because these are already prepped to be welded together. And if I roll that edge, it's just going to make it a pain in the butt to weld it together when I do get gas. So, and testing wise, I'm not going to be running much boost at all. And even when we take it to the track, it's probably going to be like 5 pounds of boost. So even if I have to run that at the track, it should hopefully hold 5 PSI. Yeah! That one felt like a good pass. Man, this thing's so much faster with the turbo on it. Oh my god. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, it was a 13.6. Damn it. 105. I was really hoping for a 12. That felt so good though. That was so fun. Oh my god.